So this is me just making a little video before I go out for a run in case I do not return. Yeah, it is shocking what I've discovered. These are the people that sing about, you know, being picked to play the game in the musical sector. And Sting sang about Fields of Gold. The woman who sang with him there is Sheryl Crow, who might be an American Indian, but there's no way I can find that out. And this woman, Sheryl Crow, got cancer. This woman died of cancer, and she also sings about Sting's theme of the Fields of Gold, who belong to none of the citizens of any of the countries in our world now. This song is lovely, and the enforcement of God's justice is quite intimidating when you understand it.
You may not realise that.
That's the Lennoxes, who with the Bruces and the Murrachs, the Murrays of Andy's lineage, were able to dismember Braveheart and to let Longshanks have his way with the French heroines and everyone who is interested in the Scottish jurisdiction, all the way from Norman Lamont's islands on Orkney and all of the oil interests that now belong to the Norwegians. That is the Sally Magnusson dynasty. Okay, it is pathetic. All of them. This woman is a special envoy for sub-Saharan Africa, appointed by Salmond and Sturgeon's treasonous government to make sure that Africa never gets a chance. Okay, and the Queen's equerry, Lord Strang-Steel, is also interested in stealing from Malawi, like the daughter of my local Burns Club man, who is the headmaster of our local school, and the motto for our local school is do or die. It is absolutely sick. Let me show you the cup. Everything is turned into merchandise. This is the Kelso High School motto, run by the Burns Club leader, and it is pathetic. It shows you a symbol for a heart, and it is totally suppressed by the Crown. Okay, and everything about Scottish heroism, national, patriotism is a fraud. This woman sings about universal children. She runs the hospitals in sub-Saharan Africa, but we never give them public health. Yet we just give them the imposition of land grabs run by the Crown. Yeah, run by the Crown and the World Wildlife Fund. And the music is lovely. For the period where I could not get a job and I did not realise that I was born for this other job, this song used to give me hope that the world would be turned to good. Now I understand the authoress and the singer and what she sings about in her other sectors, about being a thorn in our side. I can completely relate now. Good old Annie, being a working class Glaswegian, was on Facebook for a while until I joined her as a friend. Alan Beath, the person who's in the cross-border issues at Berwick, is the only one, and he's quite old now, with the courage to stay with me on Facebook to monitor everything that I am accusing them of. Annie dropped out quite a long time ago, and Billy Connolly, the working man, has no longer got a dialogue with working people or even professors in Scotland. He's got the cancer too. Okay, Annie looks fit and healthy, and she would really do well to start working for the universal children instead of tucking it away in the £1 million sector. That she's a millionaire from her musical career, that is decent. If she's a millionaire from the African connection, then God will catch up with her with those other people that sing about the fields of gold and being picked to play the game by the government, because the game is vicious and it is all a massive crime against the people. Before I go for a run, I was going to make a video, and I'm going to make it this evening, with John Patterson, who's agreed that he will again join my group, because he gets the sensational news from me that now allows him to talk to Al Jazeera and all of the world owners, media events. Yeah, that's Russia Today, Al Jazeera, I forget the name of the other ones, but they're run using Noam Chomsky as the leading voice for false socialism. He's bailed out and joined Arianna Huffington in the millionaire sector, like Annie here. Yeah, and all of them think that they can continue to suppress the innocent amateur. They know now that those cancers and those massive cardiovascular accidents that have occurred at the BBC, where John Patterson visited them yesterday and allowed Gordon Bowden to speak on his behalf. That's because Gordon Bowden does not understand or talk about the religious fraud, because he's paid just to reveal a very narrow sector of the leaders of our world's minor frauds. Yeah, and all of the stuff that I found out on this computer I was saving up to reveal with John Patterson tonight. That this computer has been crashed again as I listened to the videos before I went out for my run. What I'm going to reveal here is the links, and I need to get this out quickly to make me safe, is the links of the Rothschilds to the directorial scams and the Ponzi frauds in Lothian Road in Edinburgh. They are massive. And there's a guy that looks like Longshanks' son-in-law and his boyfriend that was chucked out the window in that movie. Okay, the whole of my town is crawling with intel people, and they are very nervous about the acts of God theory that they can see being enacted right in front of their faces. Yeah, right, so the computer's been crashed. Just let me tell you what I did and what I was looking at. Okay, we'll go on this computer to the business registry. Okay, or we'll go there using, let's get rid of the music, because all the romance is just a cover for the financial crimes. Okay, so YouTube, and if we go YouTube there, we can then go to company check. We can then go to Rothschilds, and we can then find the shocking things that I've rediscovered this morning. We made videos with John Patterson earlier about how to use company check, and we found out that, you know, the first few companies we discovered were relatively minor, and they were only Ponzi shells for laundering purposes. And sorry, I don't need to go to YouTube to get company check. I just need to get company check up there, and then we can have a little explore. I'm only going to show you the highlights, and I'm going to describe them to John Patterson tonight, who's headed for Eastern Europe. You remember when we made the first Fetzer interview? President Obama got Jim Fetzer's time. They all know that President Obama is illegitimate. He's not even an American citizen. But instead of allowing me the 2 hours on the Ukrainian crisis and the frauds in Ukraine, they had to give me only 1 hour and President Obama was the focus of the next one. Yeah, all of them are telling the false news and getting paid to dismember their countries. John is relatively innocent. I was not introduced to him. I found him as an interested Facebook member who was totally interested in the history of fascism, and that is why he's so useful, and he's prepared to listen to the they would have you believe are conspiracy theories on religion that are going to bring them down, and the war crimes jokes are bringing them down faster than any other factor, along with the involvement of the university leaders and the politicians in stealing from all of British innocence. That is the kids that are at university and the people who teach on work in the public sector who get no funding for public schools. Yeah, all of those are being privatised now, and it's all part of that massive Brits fraud. Yeah, and the populist thing that is the celebrity that drives all this along, with Annie Lennox tucking it up her knicker leg. Okay, let me find you the links to the Rothschilds that made me really nervous about running on my own without armed security guards. Okay, it is ruthless, and Gordon has revealed the crimes in Lothian Road, and I've revealed that the people who run the crimes in Lothian Road are actually fraudsters in virtual oil and gas, and their boss at Cairn Energy gets to be on the court of the Bank of England, issuing democracy's funding to their friends in the elite billionaire sector. Okay, what I've found this morning is the interlocks at Lothian Road to Lothian 50, Lothian 1000, Lothian Andrew Lothian, the cover for the Lothian Road frauds and the Rothschild connection, who's accused of gang raping his wife using the date rape drug. He is an intel fraudster. He's a fat bloke, and a friend of his wife's lives just round the corner from me and is an employee or former employee of the Duke of Northumberland. Yeah, with the shooting lodges and the poison garden and the massive castle that even as a fully paid professor I could not afford to take my family through the gates at Alnwick Castle. Yeah, it is a global cabal that has been together since the Roman court, and that is since King Herod's day, and Julius Caesar started his business interests in Northumberland near the Wall region. The sun has just dipped behind the cloud because the sun god is the victim of all of this. The sun god is where I find my inspiration, and when they see that the humans have created their own deities and their own funding streams using those vicious methods, the sun's coming back out again. Okay, let me show you how the Lothian Empire in Lothian Road is a direct subsidiary of the Rothschilds, and how all of the Rothschilds trusts take you into New Zealand, and the colonies and every nation is now run by them. Yeah, I now understand the Bernie joke. Bernie is one of the children of Rab C. Nisbet. The company that is running as the law firm, and the sun's gone in the Scottish fraud that is the Rothschild dynasty, is called Bernie's LLP, and that is a joke about Rabbi Burns, our headmaster at our school, and all of the people that are enslaved by the Burns Club methodologies. Let me play you something that I played at the weekend. I don't think I've included it in a video yet, but it brings together all of the enslavement of the ordinary working classes, as long as they get a glass of whiskey and a piece of turnip, yeah, to show how sheepish they are. Yeah, they're quite content with their lives in poverty and to be conscripted into the uniform. Okay, so this is wee Sleekit Cowarus Beastie, and that is the Scottish working man now. That is the drinker in the public bar. That is the person that gets pissed, gets arrested by the police, and the police are not savvy enough to realise that the person who's trying to talk about politics in the pub is trying to save their salary and their pension fund from these bastards in the Rothschild family who are so ruthless that they are prepared to steal from their own forces and their own policing method. And it's pathetic.
To a mouse, and turning her up in her nest with the plough, November 1785. Wee sleekit coorn timnis beastie, or a panics in thy breastie, thou needna start a wassy hasty wi' bick and brattle. I would be laith to rin and chase thee wi' murder and prattle. I'm truly sorry man's dominion has broken nature's social union, and justifies that ill opinion which makes thee startle at me, thy poor earth-born companion and fellow mortal. I doubt na whiles, but thou maun thieve. What then, poor beastie, thou maun leave. A dame in a thrave's a sma request. I'll get a blessing with a lave and never missed. Thy wee bit hussy, do and ruin, it's silly was the winds are strewing, and naething now to big a new no foggage green, and bleak December's winds ensuing, baith snell and keen. Thou saw the fields laid bare and wast, and weary winter coming fast, and cosy here beneath the blast thou thought to dwell, till crash the cruel tutor passed out through thy cell. That wee bit heap o' leaves and stibble has cost thee.
So, this is what was crashed on the other computer. I've got loads of sites opened. I've got loads of sites that I will talk to John Patterson about. I will reopen them on a more reliable computer before I get the news out to him and his global network, many of whom are enslaved by the same people. The Rothschild Trust takes you into trust funds. That is tax-free illicit earnings from global warfare and geopolitical manipulation campaigns that overcomes the whole of Ukraine, the whole of Syria, the whole of Russia, the whole of China, the whole of Poland, the whole even of Germany in World War II. Miss Merkel is just a bit part in this team, like Putin. Putin is in the intel sector, is gifted Russia like Stalin was. Putin dismembered New Zealand, and the New Zealand Trust is alive and well, and I had it open on that other computer before it was crashed this morning. I had the computer open in safe mode this morning, thinking that that may be immune from crashing by my intel experts who are all around my town. Okay, and the Romanovs, the Tsars, are on this listing. This one is vicious. This one takes you into all of the cover-ups for all of loads and loads of incidents that have occurred. Takes you, there's a scoon on the list, and a lot of my patriots on Skype believe that they will free Scotland, referring Scottish law back to the 13th century before the Bannockburn massacre, and they cannot relate to the Yom Kippur joke that is the Treaty of Arbroath. But the joke about the scoon is that the scoon is currently registered on Hannah Mary Rothschild's director interlocks. That is Hannah, the Hanukkah joke. That is Mary the Virgin in the movies that the Pythons make about, is she a virgin, and is that politically correct for me to ask that question as they buy the stones on their way to the stonings? And the stonings and the beheadings are the only things that are on the front page of the papers. All of her interlocking directors explain the appointment of the French president, who's also in a marital crisis. That is Hollande. It's a direct cover for one of her directorial colleagues. Yeah, and when you read down the listing, there are so many of them that are childish little jokes about people who are financial criminals but have appeared in the news all over the BBC sector as covers for the Rothschild Directorate. It's very difficult for me to remember the details of that, which is why it's a tragedy that they're allowed with the condonement of my local police. Even the Lothian and Borders Police is registered as a business. When you hit Lothian and you look for any number of Lothian PONZIS shelves out of Lothian Road, that's what you get. And the ones that are linked to the PONZIS that are just numbered Lothian shelves and are linked also to the Rothschilds directors that we're looking up here, it is vicious. So these are the world owners running shows that bust everybody's pension funds in the city of Edinburgh, and John is allowing Gordon Bowden to speak on his behalf. And now every time I talk to Skypey people, I'm making a video, because what they do is betray me and they turn their attention to trivial diversions on things that just keep taking you back to people who are bit parts right at the bottom of the spoken wheel model that they understand so well. Okay, that's why I'm more interested in the Russian Tsar, who's on the next page of this listing. Yeah, I need to make it plain what I've discovered before I can safely cross the threshold of my own home. Ah, shit, even this is fucked up now. Yeah, we get into the advertising sectors, so let's have another go. All of the frauds interlocked, and it will not let me go back. Okay, so just let me tell you that the Russian Tsar, the Romanov, who defrauded Hearts Football Club of everything that Hearts fans paid into it, and made the shareholders absolutely delighted with the deal that was seen through in the Lithuanian merchant bank that Romanov owned. Okay, the Romanovs are on the board of the Rothschild directorates, and the Rothschild trusts are registered right across Australasia through every one of those corrupted countries. They've been corrupted by the British migrants that were sent away from Britain for being poor. And when you get that joke about the green willow on the hat, they sent the males off on their own so that the women could be molested in the downstairs sector in Downton Abbey, or they could be cast into homes because they were shagged when they were not married to the elites that run Downton Abbey. Okay, and all of it is covered up by the artistic sector, and the people that run the big house at Alnwick are allowed to grow opiates in their garden just to show that they've got the power. But they have not got the power to resist the acts of God, and J.K. Rowling is looking ever so nervous as she appears at the Scottish Rugby Union frauds run by Princess Anne. They're not going to let me take you back to the Rothschilds listings. This is in my own living room. Okay, right, let's try again. It's getting quite gusty outside. Rothschild, then director. You can do this for yourself, even if you're a trained monkey and you live in one of their mansion houses or one of their vast rubber plantations in the East India Company somewhere. Okay, right then. So, 290 directors. Let's have a look at the second page this time. They might have had enough time to take him down, but even Alistair Campbell, Tony Blair's spin doctor, has not got that speed of response on this system, I hope. There's the one that is the Virgin Mary and the Hanukkah joke all tied into the one. She's relatively young. I might be able to get my leg over with her, and I might approach Ali G to see if I can get a date with her as my Julie. Okay, it is absolutely childish and imbecilic, but they are the people that make the policy decisions for the whole world now. Next page. Do I get the ads again? Okay, so that's Rothschild Trust Switzerland AG. There we have Tsar, Rothschild, Nikolovich, Romanov. Okay, I'm going to take you into the trust funds in New Zealand. I'm going to take you into the empires run by the Virgin Mary Rothschild, and I'm going to show you how everything that we read about in our newspapers are covered up for their directorial listings and their massive Ponzi schemes, which are the Lothian 50 to Lothian 3000 crimes in Lothian Road, which is a complete fraudulent financial empire in the road right opposite the Students' Union where I used to drink as an innocent student, that was funded by the state and my local council all the way to professor and all the way to being a team leader in the Wellcome Foundation. And all of it is a vicious joke, and nobody has prosperity now except a few thousand people that are linked into these directorial interlocks. Okay, I'm hoping that that will make me safe. I'm going for a run, and every time I go for a run there are more and more people subjected to the acts of God and backed into a corner. None of them come forward with a conscience, with the exception of John Lamont. I tried to find John Lamont as an MSP and a potential leader of our nation on YouTube this morning. He has nothing that is published. Yeah, he's running for power. He knows all of these sins, and he maybe, because his family are decent enough to approach me and let me know that they have worked with me all around the world. That's the Lamonts in the biochemistry department in New Zealand. Yeah, and the Lamonts that live in one of Kelso's oldest houses in Roxburgh Street, which was the only street in Kelso for the time when we had the plague and we were afflicted with that. And the pharmacy is also in Roxburgh Street, and it leads to the gates of the Duke of Roxburgh's castle that are open to visitors, and there is no Islamic terror threat anywhere in that region. There is a guy with Rastafarian locks who's also been sent to keep an eye on me, but he's decent enough to talk to me, and I remember playing rugby against him in Buckinghamshire, which was immune from bombing in World War II. And the Rastafarian locks is a cover for the Italian army's genocides in Ethiopia, and all of that is a cover for the Ethiopian links to the Lion of Judah joke that is Charlton Heston being a friend of Jesus Christ in the Hollywood movie. Okay, Tsar, Rothschild, Nikolaev, Romanov. Do you get it? He's the man that stole the money out of Edinburgh, and that week I wrote to the Gorgie police. They confirmed receipt of my letter. Nothing happens in the pursuit of justice in Scotland, and Shaun Connery was born and raised in that region and is also a criminal in the laundering sector, with the full backing of David Murray and his vineyards in France. Okay, I'm going to sign off. Hopefully that makes me safe. If you don't hear from me again, you know that the Rothschilds killing regime is still as powerful and as threatening as it has ever been. Okay? And the sun is dipping. It is a real threat. The police are owned by them. NATO's armies are owned by them. The neutral Swiss are owned by them. Everything that is done that runs our world now is a fraud and a scam. And all of the media coverage and all of the comedians, we're getting close to Red Nose Day. They do not have the courage now to stand by their buckets. Now that I have revealed for them that everybody that gets involved in that is a traitor to their country, those traitors are linked in to the Cahills, who are killers in our country and members of the SAS and directors of British Airways. But when you look on company check at British Airways, those Irish directors have no directorates. The companies are just Ponzi schemes. It's the same with the Fleming family, and it is shameful that the world is so technologically capable and articulate, but it cannot come clean on the crimes of earlier generations in these families. The people that are doing it now are relatively innocent. They have not yet committed to world wars. Their parents and their grandparents are genocidal leaders, and it is really easy for this generation to step away from it and to get rid of all of the sovereign debt that they thrive on in that 100,000 people or so sector. But they have not got the wits to make themselves safe like that. Instead, they opt for the tyranny, when everyone now can read and write and understand the frauds. So if you're a traitor, think twice, watch the acts of God, look for news of Lord Patten and Lord McAlpine, who never got a burial, and look for all those missing newsreaders like George Alagaya that are missing in action because they dedicate their whole lives to telling lies. And say a little prayer for Sally Magnuson's mum,